My name is Hong-Seok Kim, and this is my co-presenter Jiwon-jang. And today I will present about the carbon tax, and we are going to discuss about the carbon tax is the most efficient way to reduce the CO2. For the presentation, I will show some pictures about the polar bear. Yeah, many of you see these pictures on the internet, and this is a picture about the polar bear which is taken away their living land, the glaciers. And many scientists say that the CO2 is the main reason to reduce the North Poles, ice of the North Poles and the ice of the South Pole. And many people want to reduce the CO2 in the to protect our planet. And there are some ways to reduce the carbon dioxide. The one way is the carbon tax, and another way is the emission trade. There are many other ways to reduce the CO2, but these two policies are mainly discussed these days, and also they are this policy is on process some countries. And first, the carbon tax is the environmental tax to rely on the carbon dioxide, and mainly the government charge their tax on the carbon dioxide, the product which produce the carbon dioxide, such as coals, fuels, or natural gases. Other way is the emission trading. This is the policy that the government issued the permits to the company, and the company are trading their permits between companies. This is the picture with the concept, and so the one company lack of their permits, they can buy some permits from the other company, which is they have lots of useless permits, and because of the trade, this is based on the market, and there are so many pros and cons these two policies, and my next co-presenter presents about the pros and cons about these policies.
I will present about pros and cons of each way, carbon tax and emission trading, and I will conclude. The advantage of carbon tax is that carbon tax applies to all fossil fuels based on their carbon contents. The tax is charged to all energy consumers, so it involves all the consumers of their climate change costs directly. And carbon tax is a kind of government regulation and is implemented through government policy. So the tax would increase gradually, and it is predictable. Consumers and companies can take high future energy costs into account when they make long-term decisions, such as vehicle purchases or building locations. But carbon tax is often criticized because the tax imposes a major burden on consumers directly. In addition, carbon tax is imposed to all energy consumers, including people with energy-intensive jobs locations, such as truck drivers or rural community residents who commute a long distance. These types of consumers are likely to use energy more efficiently than others, and they can hardly reduce their energy consumption below current level of consumption, but they should pay a lot of tax under carbon tax system because they are large energy consumers. So it is unfair to them, and carbon tax can be ineffective to reduce energy consumption level in practice. For emission trading, the most desirable feature is that emission trading is a market-based instrument to reduce the emissions of pollutants. Emission permits are traded in carbon markets, and through a trade, the buyer pays a charge for polluting, while the seller is rewarded for reducing emissions. Thus, economically, this is the most efficient way for reducing CO2. On the other hand, global warming requires more radical change than a modest change. However, emission trading is not a radical solution when compared with other restrictive regulations. If market price of emission trading is too volatile and not stable, price cannot reflect the cost of polluting efficiently, thus emission trading might be ineffective. There has been much debate on which way is more effective, carbon tax or emission trading, to slow down and prevent global warming. And it's very hard to conclude that one way is superior to another one, both theoretically or practically. However, public opinion generally tends to support emission trading simply because most people don't want to be charged for another tax directly. On the other hand, there are relatively favorable to market-based ways such as emission trading. So this can be more realistic criteria for choosing a way of emission reduction. Thank you.